Hello and welcome to the time management methodology training with its first part, the identification and collection of tasks. Well, this course is embedded into a series of courses dealing with the different parts and aspects of time management. And basically, time management comprises four main or major phases. So this course deals with the first one, the first phase, the identification phase. Meaning that you apply methods and systems to identify the tasks that you need to fulfill and find a way to collect them into a system that allows the further processing of the tasks within the phases of time management. So this is this first course. The second phase would be then the prioritization of tasks. So applying methods to distinguish the more relevant tasks from the less relevant tasks. So a reordering of your task list then. The third phase comprises the scheduling. So bringing the time aspect within your task list. So finding time slots where you're actually going to fulfill the tasks that you planned before. Based on a daily schedule, a weekly schedule, and so on. So applying proper methods to do this in the most efficient way possible here. And when you are fulfilling your tasks, you of course need a proper task management for monitoring your tasks. So to see which tasks are fulfilled, which tasks are currently in process, which tasks are waiting, and what need to be done now and tomorrow and so on. So these four phases are the parts that you have to concentrate on when it comes to time management, and we are dealing with them within those courses in the series. Besides this, it's of course as well important to overcome procrastination. So the motivation aspect is important here, and we will take a look at the different methods that can be applied to overcome the procrastination here, to bring in more motivation. And we're taking a look at using the right tools to support all those phases for a proper time management. So before getting into more detail of the time management methods in this course, we want to take a look at your goals that you have for a better time management. So first of all, we have to distinguish between time management and self-management. So what is your motivation for a better time management? Most people would answer for sure that they want to have more time or getting more things done. Right? So, but there is a common misconception in time management as such that distinguishes itself from the self-management aspect here. So the problem is obviously that there's no way to create actual new time, right? So having more time is not something that you would get from a better time management as such, right? So, but the idea would be to only change the order in which you're doing things, by organizing your stuff that you have to do, or by setting priorities to the task that you have. So this is actually time management. The real goal behind time management is efficiency, right? So that you can do more things in the time you have, or you can do them in a better order, in a more organized way, and by not forgetting things, right? So what I would propose is to consider the effectiveness of a task in the first place, and afterwards take a look at efficiency or efficient methods to fulfill the task that you decided to do. Right? So what you have to think about is the significance of your task for the future. So I would propose to ask yourself two questions when a task is coming up. So first, how long will something be relevant? And what can I do today that makes a better tomorrow? So what can I do right now for a better future? So these two questions help you to evaluate the effectiveness of the fulfillment of a task. So when you think about how relevant something is, then you think about, is the task really important, or is it really actually not important, so not really worth doing? And the second one is, what can I do today that makes a better tomorrow, refers to what you can do actually that helps you save time or be a better person, or make something better for the future. So you are always referencing the task that you're doing today into the future. So that helps you to multiply time virtually by doing things today that save you time in the future. So actually, I propose to exchange time management by self-management. So you take a look in the first place of yourself and your own future, and afterwards taking a look at time management strategies to be more efficient by doing the things that you decided you want to do, right? In short, we could say we have to ask ourselves the one question each and every time a task gets into our inbox. We ask ourselves in how we can get rid of that task now, and the important part as well, in the future. That actually refers to the focus funnel, a strategy that helps you to evaluate the effectiveness of a task and find strategies to getting rid of those tasks for now and in the future. So take a look at this. In the first place, there's a new task coming in. Everything that's coming in is a task in this way. So if something is in your inbox, in an email inbox, or your actual mailbox, or whatever, or your boss is coming in and gives you a task, or whatever, a new task, then you at first have to find a way to eliminate this. So you ask yourself whether the task is worth doing or not. So important is that we identify those tasks that we are not going to do, because there's another way of doing those tasks that are important, that are more important or more significant for the future. You avoid tasks that are not relevant for the future. So the second phase is, so we try to eliminate as many tasks as possible, but there are of course tasks that pass this first phase, and that need to be done in a certain way. So in the second phase, we are trying to find a way to automate the task. So probably we have a task that we think that cannot come up not only today and this time, not only once, but could reoccur eventually. So we are trying to find a way to automate the task in a way that saves us time tomorrow. Probably automating processes can be very costly in the first place. So you need time to develop a strategy to automate a task, and that might be expensive in the first place. But of course, if the task reoccurs, we don't have to deal with it anymore, because we found a way to automate the fulfillment of the task for the future. Probably there are tasks that we do not want to automate for a certain reason, or that are very difficult to automate. Then those tasks enter the third phase, where we think about whether we are the right person to do this task, or if there is somebody else that should do this for now and in the future. So we try to delegate a task to someone else to save time. And our task would then be to instruct others to fulfill the task. We show them how to do this for now, and of course as well for the future. And only those tasks that are left here, tasks that we didn't eliminate, that we didn't automate, that we were unable to delegate because we have to do this, then those tasks will pass our own time management strategy. So we are doing those tasks ourselves and now. Time management as such comprises 4 important phases that are shown here. So in the first place, we have to identify the task we have to fulfill. So we need a way or a system to collect all those tasks that we have to do, finding a way to form a kind of inbox that we can work on. So we identify and collect our task in the first phase. The second phase is that we have to reorder all those tasks. So we are setting priorities. There are strategies to do this in the right way. In the third phase, we find a way to take the ordered list of tasks that we have to do and schedule them into our daily schedule or the weekly schedule whatsoever. So find a time slot for fulfilling those tasks. And while doing the task then, while fulfilling everything, we have a fourth phase, so the monitoring of our process of fulfilling tasks. And that's done by a proper task management strategy. Well, the focus funnel as such is something that incorporates all those phases, right? So we have to think about it in the first place. So when we identify and collect the task, we then have to think about the elimination, delegation, automation process of tasks before they are getting processed by our time management strategy. So probably the task changes to an automation task, so a way to automate a certain task for now in the future, or it changes to a task to show someone else in showing how to fulfill the task. So the delegation element here. So this is something that we need to be aware of when talking about time management, because your prior goal of time management to getting more time and getting more things done can only be reached in a way that we have to be aware of the effectiveness of tasks prior to the efficiency of doing tasks in a time management. So let's dive into the main part of this course, so the identification and collection of tasks. So first of all, let's have a look what this part will cover here. So first of all, it's important to know our goal. So what we want to have is as complete as possible list of all the tasks that we need to fulfill. Because all further methods of time management consider that or assume that all those tasks that need to be done are known in advance. So that's why it's important to know all the tasks that you need to fulfill in the first place, and that's why I propose a 2-phase method. So in the first phase, brainstorm all the tasks that you have to fulfill based on a to-do list. So you collect all the tasks that come into your mind in the first place. And in the second phase, we are trying to find and identify the tasks that we might have not considered in the first place by structuring all the tasks onto a to-do list into a categorized and structured mind map. Add all the missing tasks that we identify using this mind map, because we get a proper overview of your project or whatsoever. And then we sequence everything down to a to-do list again that is now as complete as possible. So 2 phases. First brainstorming, second structuring using mind maps. And that's why we take a look at first to-do list as such, and afterwards at mind maps in the context of finding and collecting the tasks. So first, to-do lists. So those are the fundamentals of all time management techniques, and that's why we have to take a look at them, right? So first of all, to-do lists are also called pendency lists and task lists. So that are always the same, of course. Yeah, but what's the structure of a to-do list? So basically, a to-do list comprises the task description. So meaning the list of the things that you need to do. But of course, there are as well additional details that can be noted down to a to-do list. And that's basically the information who has to do this task. If you're dealing with multiple people, so for example a team, then you have to clarify who is responsible for the specific task, of course. Then it's as well important to know until when a task has to be done. So a due date is important here as well. And additionally, if you want, you can as well set a specific start date where you plan to start the task, not earlier to this, but from this time on. You can set a priority based on the prioritization phase that's in the second phase of time management that we had already looked at. And you can monitor the state of a task. Normally know that a task that's been completed will be struck through when finished. But of course you can as well take down additional state information. So the information when a task is being processed, or a task is pending, you're waiting for something, and you can as well monitor the completion state in percentage, for example. So all those things can be added to a to-do list to make it more sophisticating, to add additional details to the tasks here that describe the task in more detail, of course. So in which context do we use to-do lists? So first of all, almost everywhere, right? So of course to-do lists can be used by single people. They can be used by certain teams and to work on certain projects where multiple stakeholders and team members are involved in. When working in teams and in projects, then it's mostly important as well to consider this a responsibility part of a to-do list as well. If you're doing this for yourself, then maybe it's not important to take down who is responsible for the to-dos. Despite you're a team leader who is as well delegating tasks, and then you postpone those tasks to other people and delegate it. Well, then you use to-do lists in a context of, for example, organizing meetings. So you take down the steps you have to do, or the people taking part in this meeting are planning to do then. So the result of a meeting should be taken down onto a to-do list. To-do lists can be used in negotiation processes as well. Of course, you take down what every part of the negotiation every party has to do. So you report the results in here as a to-do list. You can use it for project management, of course, to plan these tasks, bundle them to working packages, etc. And you use it as well as agendas for as well for meetings as well, of course, but as well for bigger events, of course, as well. So you have a to-do list there used as an agenda. Creating to-do list means that you have to brainstorm your ideas. So brainstorming means, in the first place, the unstructured collection of all tasks. So you take down everything that comes into your mind. You can do this as well in teams. So everyone in this team will input and add new tasks that comes in their mind. And you do not evaluate it in this phase, whether you consider this task to be relevant and useful. Should you take down it? Shouldn't you take down this? You take down everything here onto your brainstorming to-do list. And in the second part, you accept or dismiss the task here afterwards. Yeah, so you take the evaluation step explicitly after the brainstorming part. Yeah? And you can do this brainstorming and to-do list creation using almost any tool that comes into your mind. Of course, depending on the kind of media that you're doing the meeting in, the brainstorming meeting. So if you're doing a network, an online meeting, I would propose taking down the to-do list using a tool that is more collaboratively oriented, so such as Google Docs, for example, or Google Spreadsheet, of course, as well. But if you're in a physical room with your team, then you can, of course, have it on a blackboard, on a flip chart, or having some notes taken down onto a wall, or just taking a sheet of paper. But it's more recommended if you're doing the brainstorming for yourself and not in a team. One thing that I consider is very important to differentiate between is the differentiation between task and appointments. Because I often see people planning their whole day with all the tasks, all the to-dos as events into their calendars, so they are planning everything as appointments, and the other way around as well. So people who are planning all the things they have to do in task lists, including their appointments. And I think it's important to distinguish here. So find the right tool to plan everything, so that appointments belong to a calendar and actual tasks belong to a to-do list. And the main differentiation between here is that a task is only finished after the task has been done, whereas an appointment is finished after a predefined and in advance known date and time. So in both cases, you might have a start date. So where you plan to start your task, or when you plan to let the appointment begin. And you have a defined end time and date as well. In case of task, it's more or less a due date and time, whereas an appointment is the defined end time and date, of course. Most tools for managing tasks and appointments both support recurring events, recurring tasks. So a repetition of those tasks and appointments on a planned basis is possible in most cases. But of course, the different thing here is, the differentiation is that a task that's showing up today and is not fulfilled today, that you didn't do today, will show up tomorrow as well, whereas an appointment that you planned today but you didn't care of today will disappear, and tomorrow it's not there anymore. So if this has been a to-do that you didn't care of, then tomorrow it disappeared. Of course, in tasks, you can set as well priorities where it's not that important to have priorities with appointments, because appointments do take your time in a defined way, whereas appointments additionally have a defined place where this appointment takes place, and you're able to as well invite participants to that appointment. In certain task management tools, it's as well possible to define other people who should be responsible for the fulfillment of the task. So it's as well possible to, in a certain way, invite people or participants. But it's important to see this difference, so that a task needs to be written down on a to-do list, and the task needs to be ticked or struck through if it's done, whereas events, appointments need to be taken down into a calendar, because there you have a defined time slot where this appointment, this event will take place. You should always differentiate between these two and never mix them up. Now take a look at mind maps. So in the first place, we created, using a brainstorming technique, a to-do list with all the things, with all the tasks that came into our mind, and you took them down onto a to-do list. So the next part is to sort everything in a way that you find categories and structure everything, so that it's possible for you to see where tasks might be missing. And therefore we are using mind maps. Our goal is to get an almost complete list of all the tasks in a very fast way, of course, for a reliable time management when proceeding here into this course and proceeding with your personal time management, of course. So now, how to create and how to build up this mind map. So in the first step, you need to take down the topmost goal of or objective of your project, for example, into the center of your document where you want to create this mind map. So take a blank sheet of paper or a tool where you have a canvas where you can freely create your mind map, and then you would first take down the major objective in the middle. So in this example here, we have the start with a goal of acquiring new customers. So that should be the goal of our project here. And this is the root element, the center element of a structure, of a hierarchy that we'll build up in form of this mind map. Everything that adds up to this mind map will taken down around this the center goal, and we'll link everything together so we create a kind of tree structure of our project here. So what we're going to do in a second step is that we create major subtasks or categories to this mind map to make up a certain kind of structure. So for example, in the case of our goal to acquire new customers, we might consider the different media that we consider when acquiring new customers as the categories that make up our structure. So we take down that we could acquire new customers using telephone, using meeting them in person, via mail or email. And then we add all those tasks that we brainstormed before to this specific structure here. Now afterwards, we add all the tasks that we identified during our brainstorming process to this structure, and we need to complete our list or our mind map by identifying and filling gaps that might occur. You as well can identify several bundles and working packages within this mind map and create even deeper structure in this mind map, in this tree. And you can combine as well tasks that you identified using cross-tree links to as well create a certain kind of bundling of specific tasks. So for example, here in this case, we have the task of searching contacts that we, so searching people that we can contact using our phone and using email. And maybe the process of searching those persons, searching contacts, can be bundled into one major task afterwards. So our task is to get an overview of the whole project, of all the tasks, identify missing tasks that you didn't consider during your brainstorming, during the brainstorming phase, and add them to this mind map. And probably this mind map will grow very large, to a very large scale. So what you see here in this example, of course, is very, very minor. you want to create, or maybe you want to create a much more detailed and structured mind map here with several levels of structure, and yeah, that everything that you have on here will help you to really get a complete overview of your project and to ensure the completeness of all your tasks. And the bundling into linked and connected tasks will help you to sort all those tasks afterwards. So step 4 is now to transform your mind map back to a to-do list. So you already created a to-do list during the brainstorming phase, but now you create a structured to-do list out of your mind map. So you can create bundles of tasks. You can identify linked tasks that should be done in conjunction or directly afterwards. You can as well create a processed list, so an ordered list where you have to where you can take down the tasks that need to be done step by step, so after one another. And after you've done this, you have a complete to-do list, and hopefully you passed your goal to have a to-do list, a task list that is as complete as possible to proceed with the time management. So take a look at the summary, what you learned in this part here. First of all, to-do lists. They are ideal to collect tasks in almost any situation. So you can do this by yourself, you can do this in a team, or with external team members, of course, as well. So related to projects, for example, as well with the stakeholders of those projects. Within this to-do list, you give at least a description of the task that has to be done. You need to take down as well a due date, because that's important when taking down to-dos. It's not only to take down the to-do as such, but as well to take down a due date. You find a person who's responsible for this, so you take down as well the responsibility, so who is responsible for this, and optionally as well add a start date as well. So to-do lists in the first place is ideal for a brainstorming phase when finding all or identifying all the tasks that need to be done. Important is as well that when taking down to-dos, it's important to differentiate tasks and appointments. So on to-do lists, there you only take down real tasks that need to be done, not appointments. The second part, mind maps, they can be used to get a structured overview of the whole project. So this is a method to collect tasks in an almost complete way. You structure your tasks in a multi-leveled tree structure in this mind maps. You identify bundles and dependencies that make up between those tasks as cross-tree constraints or cross-tree links. So in the first step and the second, you write down your major goal of your project in a center, and you add all those tasks that you already know that you've taken down during the brainstorming phase as the first nodes of your mind map. Then afterwards, you identify the gaps, so the missing tasks that you didn't consider in the first place, and you add the dependencies between the existing tasks there to create bundles. You add everything of this into your mind map, and this might grow over this when you're doing this process of creating your mind map. And as a final step of this mind mapping method is to translate this mind map back into a to-do list, maybe as well a structured to-do list that you can later on import into the task management tool of your choice. So thank you for attending this first part of this course, of this course series, so the identification and collection of tasks. So the next step would be to prioritize your task. Therefore, we need to know methods of identifying which tasks are important and really worth doing, which tasks are less important and get a lower priority, or even those tasks that are so irrelevant that you can dismiss them entirely. So this is the second phase of time management, prioritization, which we are going to deal with in the next course. Thank you.